On episode 282 of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we meet Britt Brandon and discuss her book, Activated Charcoal for Health. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/282. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Hello, and thank you for being a part of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast. I'm really glad you're here today. I've been reading a lot about activated charcoal. A lot of folks are starting to talk about this and how it can be used for detoxification and whatnot. So I was really interested to get our guest today, Britt Brandon, on the show. She's written the book, Activated Charcoal for Health. And so I was like, okay, this will be great. I was actually blown away by the different things that activated charcoal can be used for from a health and beauty perspective. So I think you're really going to enjoy today's episode. Wanted to ask you if you had considered being a part of the 40 Plus Fitness Facebook group. You know, we have a really good group there. It's slowly growing, slowly starting to become something. I do try to post inspirational posts. I remind you when podcasts are out there, kind of bring your attention maybe some podcasts that you missed in the past. I'm not using it for a lot of marketing stuff. Occasionally I'll let you know if I'm taking a client or something like that. But it's not one of those snoozy marketing deals. I don't allow spammers on there. It is a closed group. So you'll have to request entry, and I try to get back out there and make sure that I let people in as quickly as they request. So I'm out there daily looking for folks that want to join and making sure that I'm not letting the spammers on the channel. So it's a real good place if you need some additional inspiration during the day. Just want to be a part of what's going on at the podcast. That's pretty much where I'm going to make the first announcements. Not real good with email. I've tried that a couple times, and I'm just not that good at keeping up with email newsletters and whatnot. But the Facebook group is the place to be if you want to interact with me directly, want to learn more about what's going on at the podcast, and again, just kind of want some daily shots of inspiration and more of what we're trying to do here at 40 Plus Fitness. So go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/group, and that'll take you to the Facebook group. You might also be able to search for it on Facebook, but if you just type in your browser, 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/group, that'll redirect you to the Facebook group. You can request to join, and I'll let you in group straight away. So again, today we're talking to Britt Brandon, and Britt Brandon is a certified personal trainer and a certified fitness nutrition specialist, kind of along the lines of what I do. So she does have her health coaching. She does that. She has 3 small children, and she's written 7 books, including this one, Activated Charcoal for Health. I really was interested in learning more about charcoal, but when I got the book, was just really kind of, like I said, floored at all the different things that charcoal can do for us. So I think you're going to get a lot out of this book. You're going to get a lot out of this conversation today. So do tune in, do stick with us as I introduce you to Britt Brandon. So Emma, welcome to 40 Plus Fitness.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I've heard and read a whole lot about activated charcoal and how people are using it for detoxes and cleanses. I actually have this deodorant that is magnesium and charcoal that I use. And it's just basically because it's all natural. I mean, I'm not putting chemicals on my body. So I is looking for ways that I can kind of just incrementally get a little healthier. I'm looking for those natural ways to do things. And it just happened. This was a charcoal base with a magnesium for deodorant. And when I do occasionally wear a deodorant, that's one I go to.
Yep, an all-natural alternative.
And so, yeah, that's the whole kind of the whole point is to say charcoal is kind of a natural thing that we have access to. And I was really, actually, a lot of the health benefits that you mentioned in the book were really quite surprising.
Well, it's funny that it's such a regularly available ingredient that's not readily used. It's amazing how many benefits can be reaped from just like utilizing it throughout daily life.
Well, I think most of us just think, okay, this is basically what we cook our dinner with. And so other than, like I said, that, but activated charcoal is...
It's funny, while I was writing the book, everybody thought activated charcoal was like the bricks of charcoal that people use for their cooking.
It is different. And so can you talk a little bit about the sourcing of activated charcoal? Because I would imagine like anything else that you would source for your health, as things get popular, making sure that you're getting a good source is just as important as actually trying to do the right thing.
Absolutely. Well, so activated charcoal it's a granulated powder. And so there are a ton of companies that have now come to not only provide, but there's organic or inorganic versions. It actually doesn't matter because there's actually no way of determining whether something can be organic or inorganic when you're talking about activated charcoal. But on Amazon, there's a plethora of dealers who provide all kinds of activated charcoal products. And you can have it in pill form, capsule form, powder form. There's a number of products. Just like you were even saying with your deodorant my daughter's face wash has it. I use it for everything from with my kids for their mouthwash after they brush their teeth. There's a number of ways that you can use it, and there's a number of providers who sell quality versions of the product. It's just all you have to do is make sure that what you're buying is from a reputable company, and then it's pretty much all the same.
Now, there is one guy that I consider generally reputable because he does seem to legitimately care about his audience. He seems to care about his company and his customer. And he goes for the coconut charcoal. Is there a difference between that and the standard stuff?
There's a wide variety. There's a different from each source. Every single source is able to be broken down into a charcoal base, basically. So when you have the granulated powder, that is the form that you're looking for. It depends on what the source really is, whether it's coconut, whether it's any organic form can be broken down into it. But it's just the way that it's manufactured is what has to be the concern.
Okay. So you do want someone who actually cares about the end product and not just trying to come up with the cheapest possible version of it.
Yeah, it needs to be from a reputable, I wouldn't be able to make it. You can make it at home. They're actually, in my book, I even say there are ways to make it like at home, and there are DIY things on YouTube and on the internet and whatever for sources in order to make activated charcoal at home. But I wouldn't recommend it at all. I would definitely purchase it from somebody who is a reputable either provider or just a resource. There's so many. There's countless resources that are available.
Here's what I'll do. We'll be emailing after this recording. So I may ask you if you don't mind providing me with a couple of names, and I'll make sure to put that in the show notes.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. David Wolf is one of the ones that just comes off the top of my head.
Well, I'll get those links from you and make sure they're in the show notes. Awesome. So now, what I do know about charcoal before reading your book, and even a little bit now, is that charcoal basically has this propensity to kind of cling to things to help with like a detoxification, with a cleaning. So it's a cleaning agent, I guess, for a lack of a better word. So there have to be some precautions when you're going to take this, in that it's going to potentially leach certain nutrients or maybe even some medications from your system. So can you give us a little bit of information on what are the appropriate ways to use activated charcoal versus when you wouldn't want to?
Absolutely. Okay. So what activated charcoal does is it has absorptive properties. So it binds to anything that is a chemical or a foreign body. So when you ingest it or apply it topically, it's going to extract anything and bind to it. And that's why they use it for, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but a lot of people mostly assume that activated charcoal is only used for like drug overdoses or alcohol, like intoxication. So the reason why activated charcoal has been used in those scenarios and situations is because it's able to bind to things and flush them from the body quickly and effectively. So when you take activated charcoal, and then you also take, whether it's an iron supplement or a cholesterol prescription, everything is going to be flushed. So it's going to be, not only is it not going to be beneficial, it's actually going to detract from any kind of benefit that you're hoping to have from any prescription that you're taking, any supplements. That's why the 2 to 4 hour span of do not take activated charcoal supplements or in powder form or in the liquid solution 2 to 4 hours before or after taking any kind of medication or supplement.
So basically you want to say, if you're going to do this, you just have to base it on when you're eating what and when you're taking what pills, and just kind of interdisperse it at appropriate intervals so that you're not taking away.
And it doesn't apply to food. If you were to have a spinach salad and have activated charcoal, within 1 hour span, that wouldn't have the same effect. When you take it in the supplement form, those are the things that studies have shown, that there are peer-reviewed studies that have shown that activated charcoal will counteract the effects of medications or supplements that are taken, but not from the nutrients and minerals, vitamins, and everything that come from natural foods.
Cool. So now, in the book, you kind of go through a series of health benefits and beauty benefits, and there's 100 of them, right? Which is kind of crazy to think that you went through and brainstormed 100 different beneficial uses in both health and beauty. But kind of some of the surprising ones that I want to talk about is actually beneficial for heart disease.
Oh, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So what happens with heart disease, there are all of these different factors that play a role into the development and the sustainment of actually succumbing to heart disease. And so there's fat, triglycerides, all of these different lifestyle factors and genetic factors play a role in putting any kind of person, whether it's male, female, age, regardless, whether fitness, health, lifestyle, there's a number of different factors that play a role. But with activated charcoal, the toxins are removed from the bloodstream, and the digestive system is able to function more regularly. The kidneys, the liver, everything is optimized. So with activated charcoal being integrated into a daily routine, what happens is the body is able to run basically optimally. So there's a reduced risk of fatty deposits within the arteries and within throughout the cardiovascular system. And then in addition to that, the hormones are more regulated naturally. And so that helps with everything that's supposed to be working well with the metabolism and helping with sleep cycles and everything that has to do with the digestive system in terms of removing anything that's of waste products from diet, from whatever. It has a natural effect to reduce cravings for fatty foods, for sugary foods, for all of these different things that can actually contribute to the development of cardiac disease.
So now as you talk about hormones and you talk about triglycerides, that then kind of takes me to the next thing, was it also has some positive effect on cholesterol, and particularly raising good cholesterol.
Raising HDL versus LDL. So HDL is the good cholesterol, and then LDL is the poor cholesterol. So with HDL, what we're trying to do with a clean diet, with regular exercise, and with a minimization of any kind of pharmaceuticals or any kind of non-natural, basically ingestives, if you, by integrating activated charcoal into whether it's your morning routine or, however you deem fit, what happens is the triglycerides and the fatty acids and all of the fat deposits that can accumulate from whether it's from diet or over time or even from just a sedentary lifestyle, all of that stuff is literally extracted and flushed from the system naturally.
And I guess the caution here is obviously you want to make sure you're timing this charcoal intake around your meds, because you are going to be taking the meds, and obviously this would impact the meds. So kind of making sure you're smart about the timing. And
that's the only concern. There's no other health concern. There's never been any overdose or anything reported. There's never been any toxic shock. There's nothing. There's no poison control related situation involving the activated charcoal. The only concern is if you are taking a medication, you do need to, it's highly recommended that you inform your PCP or your physician and just let them know so that they can, and they'll be more than happy. And most physicians are very well versed on activated charcoal, and they can be very assistive in trying to plan a routine or a schedule that can benefit you while not taking away from the benefits of the medications that you're prescribed.
Now, the one thing I was very familiar with before was that charcoal effectively is used as a detox. Can you talk about how you would go about a charcoal detox of sorts?
Depending upon what your goal is and depending upon where your starting point is, it's almost the same as a personal trainer and as a fitness nutrition specialist. When I consult with clients, I determine what their starting point is, and then we determine what their goal is. So from point A to point B, there's a certain strategic pattern that needs to take place that can get us from point A to point B. With activated charcoal as a detox, whether you are extremely healthy, clean eating, no alcohol, no sugar, no fat, no pharmaceuticals, no nothing, there's a very different point A from somebody who
actually has a life.
Yeah. I'm going to tell my best friend that you said that. But it's a very different starting point. Somebody who may just be embarking on, whether it's because of a health issue, whether it's because of a chronic condition that, they're trying to minimize or completely rid themselves of. So it's almost like activated charcoal needs to be used hand in hand with the implementation of other healthy lifestyle implementations. So whether it's a cleaner diet, whether it's a more active lifestyle, whatever the case might be, activated charcoal can make a major difference, but it can't be used as a crutch. It's not going to be the end all be all. It just needs to be used in addition to just normal, healthy, everyday choices apple cider vinegar is another thing. My book's on apple cider vinegar, coconut oil, all of these different things. Every single implementation of a new healthy step or whatever to kind of minimize the everyday, whether it is heart disease or whether it is mental clarity or whatever the case might be, all of these different things add up. So with an accumulation of a number of healthy lifestyle choices, activated charcoal is a great option.
So I kind of equate it to if you were trying to paint a 3-story house, it's great that you have a paintbrush, but if you don't have the scaffolding, the ladder, the paint, the rest of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a great analogy. Yes.
So now the last one I want to get into in the health area is cognitive function. And I know cognitive function is kind of related to heart disease, but could you go a little bit into how it can help us with cognitive function?
Well, so cognitive functioning is all related to everything that's going on internally. So people think, that they're not able to focus because they have a lack of sleep, or they're not able to focus because they've eaten too much and they feel stuffed and they want to go to sleep. It's like the proverbial Thanksgiving with football and blah, blah, blah. All of the body systems work in the synchronization that all of these things work together so that the blood, the digestive system, the heart, the brain, everything is constantly working together so that vitamins and nutrients can be utilized to help the muscles, the brain, the blah, 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 blah. Every single system relies upon one another. When you incorporate activated charcoal into your daily life, what happens is all of the toxins, all of the quote unquote bad stuff that would be in your body is not only extracted, but it's flushed. So there's a constant detox that's going on. Well, while that detox is going on, we actually have a few peer-reviewed studies that show when people first start taking activated charcoal, they feel tired in the beginning for the first 5 to 7 days. But it's because everything is being depleted. So all of those toxins, the sugars, whether it's caffeine, there's tons, the list of things can go on and on. But there are all of these things that we have almost just become accustomed to just because they're readily available or they're regularly taken by people in our lives that we just think that it's normal. Like ibuprofen, aspirin, Tylenol, even over-the-counter medications, prescription medications, caffeine, sugars, fatty foods, all of these different things that have just become staples in the standard American lifestyle is detrimental to your health. So what happens when you take all of that stuff out, your body almost goes through this shock, almost as if you are being detoxified from drugs. It sounds kind of crazy. So with activated charcoal, all of the systems symbiotically are able to not only refresh and restore, but as the detoxification program or process goes on, the program that's being used to try to implement things into life as a healthy process is simplified just kind of naturally, with less toxins, with less additives, with less anything that's kind of interfering with the processes that help blood flow, that help the energy, the stamina, the mental focus, the mental clarity, the hormone regulation. There's all of those different things work all hand in hand. So it's almost like with somebody who's trying to lose fat only in one part of their body, when you're trying to gain, when you're trying to improve mental clarity and improve focus and cognitive functioning, you can't spot treat. What happens is everything all of the systems that interplay have to be given adequate attention.
So effectively, you need a healthy body to have a healthy brain, and you need a healthy brain to have a healthy body.
Exactly. Yeah, that's perfect.
So now as we get into beauty, because this is, a lot of people do care, and rightfully so. There's no shame in having a little bit of vanity, even in your 40s and 50s and 60s. And this is strange because I think everybody thinks of charcoal as this black powder or black cube or whatever you want to think of charcoal, but it actually helps. And you say your kids actually use this as a mouthwash, but it actually helps whiten teeth. So help us with that one.
So stain deposits that are deposited on teeth are, whether it's due to caffeine, medication, smoking, there's a plethora of sources that can cause stains on teeth. So what activated charcoal does is, whether it's used in a mouthwash or whether it's used as a toothpaste form, it can be extremely, extremely powerful in extracting all of not only the stain deposits, but also bacteria, viral, anything that's going on within the mouth hygienically can be counteracted with just the application of a simple mouthwash that uses activated charcoal, or even just the addition of activated charcoal with your toothpaste.
So it's not actually whitening the teeth so much as taking away the things that are keeping your teeth from being white.
Exactly. Yep. No, it just strips everything, but it safeguards the enamel as well. So not only is it removing anything that's causing the stains, it actually improves the calcium deposits and it safeguards the enamel. So it's a safe whitening. Now,
as we get older, and it happens men and women, but I think women kind of trouble themselves with this a lot more, is the varicose veins. So how does charcoal help minimize varicose veins? Okay, so with varicose veins, there are a lot of different studies that show the different causes and sources of varicose veins. So there are, whether they're in the lower extremities. I mean, I've had 3 children, so I have not like bulbous veins, but varicose veins that are right around my ankles. So I actually started using activated charcoal. So what happens is activated charcoal is able to be used internally and as an external topical solution. What happens is it's able to extract all of the dead blood cells. So it just forages through the bloodstream and is able to remove anything that's dead. So what happens with varicose veins is that varicose veins are the result of the buildup of dead blood cells or blocked blood cells or blocked veins. So what happens with the introduction of activated charcoal, it just forages through your entire body, just as I was saying with the cognitive functioning, with the heart disease. All of these systems are just constantly interplaying with one another. So as the activated charcoal moves through the digestive system, it also integrates into the bloodstream, and everything is able to be detoxified. Everything that's dead, toxic, bacterial, viral, anything that's harmful to the body or not useful is basically just purged. Now, I started losing my hair probably from the day I was born, to be honest with you. By the time I was in my 20s, it was obvious that God was taking me on a path, and I just decided, okay, I got to run with this. So I started shaving my head. Now, I didn't know about activated charcoal back then, so I didn't even think that I could use it, because even then, Rogaine was fairly much a new thing, and I didn't want to pay for a prescription. I didn't want to take a prescription drug. I was 29 years old for sake, But you're saying that activated charcoal helps with hair growth. Could you take just a moment to get into that?
Absolutely. So just like I was saying with the other topics, with the incorporation of activated charcoal, not only ingested but as a topical application, everything that is toxic is removed. So there have been a number of studies that have shown that the environmental, and not only environmental, but also genetic.
Like byproducts?
No, all of these factors come into play in terms of like hair loss, because there's a number of studies that have shown whether your father loses his hair, his grandfather, there's a line. My ex-husband has a full head of hair, and his grandfather had a full head of hair at 95. So, but there's the counterpart that also starts losing their hair far earlier. So there are genetic, and then there's also environmental issues to be taken into place. But the concern with hair loss as a topical application, as well as being ingested, activated charcoal is able to evacuate all of the toxins, anything that might be inhibiting natural growth of anything, whether it's the regeneration of skin cells, hair cells, anything that might be contributing to the possible growth, the regrowth and productive growth of hair.
I think the cool thing with all of this is that, one, activated charcoal is just a basically natural thing. So it's not like you're introducing your body to a strange chemical or something that you're going to negatively react to. Most people, it's a benign thing for the most part. And as long as you're careful about not letting it interact with drugs or supplements or things that you're taking, in general, it's relatively safe. So you just have to be a little careful with it, but it's easily manageable. And your book kind of lays out that, plus gives all of these different, we touched a handful, but there's all these different benefits and ways that you can use activated charcoal. And the book is called Activated Charcoal for Health, but it also goes into the beauty aspects of it as well. So a wonderful book. If someone wanted to learn more about you, Britt, or learn more about the book, where would you like for me to send them?
I have my own personal website. It's ultimatefitmom.com. And then I also have my Amazon author book page, and it's just Britt Brandon in books. And all of my books are on there. So there's 20 different titles ranging from for health to cookbooks to prenatal health and wellness. And people are more than welcome to contact me at any time at brittabrandon@yahoo.com. And that's my own personal email. So I hear from people all the time, and I absolutely love any kind of communication from any of my readers or anybody who's interested in anything for health or for fitness or wellness.
Awesome. Well, this is episode 282. So you can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/282, and I'll make sure to have all the links there in the show notes. So again, Britt, thank you so much for being a part of 40 Plus Fitness.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you haven't done so already, I'd really appreciate if you'd go out to iTunes and do a rating, review, and subscribe to this podcast. You can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/review, and that'll take you directly to the iTunes page. From there, you can go into the app on your computer or on your phone, and it will let you go ahead and do the subscribe and then the rating and review there. It really does help us on the charts. It helps people find the podcast and find this great health news that we're trying to get out there. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we welcome back Dr. Joel Furman and discuss his book, Fast Food Genocide: How Processed Food is Killing Us and What We Can Do About It. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.